I think my next guest is Gary with Harsha. Gary, are you there? Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. So we have Gary Johnson, guys. He's a thought leader and a proponent, huge proponent, I would say, of digitalization in MGIC. He's a senior director and analytics leader for the same company, leads the state-of-the-art Milo Labs. I think prior to MGIC, Gary spent most of his time in the mortgage servicing space and with IBM on the analytics work, as well as on the investment side of mortgage. So thank you so much, Gary, for joining. We also have Harsha, our own, very own Tavant Harsha. He has been with the company for 7 years, if I'm not wrong, and he leads the AI ML side of the practice. Both of them actually come with good, substantial amount of experience in whether analytics or lending or even automation. And today they will walk us through this fascinating world of data and the power of digital automation and its future. So without much delay, first of all, thank you once again, Gary, for joining. And Harsha, I know you've put up a lot of makeup today to come in front of the camera. So the 20 minutes limelight is all yours. Roll it out.
Hey, Gary.
Hi, Harsha.
Hey, how's it going?
Great.
Nice. So do you want to kick us off with a little bit about the data initiatives that you're doing at MGIC, the data platforms that you're looking at, and the whole initiative, right?
Yeah, that would be great. So yeah, I'm excited to be here today. Roughly a year ago at MGIC, we made a decision to start Milo Labs, and really the goal of that was to continue to rapidly advance ourselves into the future as a data-driven company for both our customers and the people here and our company. So we put together a small team that was focused on building out talent, infrastructure, skill sets and tools, in a strong partnership with our IS departments to be able to continue to build the platform for MGIC. So some big advantages of it are we're able, my data science team, we work very closely with the IS engineering teams, the developers, to really allow us to evaluate new technology, new tools very quickly, and we're really already seeing the benefits of that today.
Absolutely. And we did observe, we were once talking about it, that there are no more silos. I mean, people tend to work in silos. Different business units tend to work in silos, and they have their own data stores, their own self-service portals. I think you're trying to like break the silos, and would you say that you're trying to build this one source of truth for it all, one platform for it all?
Yeah, and that's maybe a good way of characterizing it. We still have our traditional departments, but this was really to enhance the collaboration that we have at our company, break down those silos or walls, as you said, and really make our data, make analytics, make models, make those into enterprise assets for MGIC. So by really having that strong partnership between the lab team and our IS department, it's allowed us to advance that vision forward and really take advantage of new tools and technologies as they come online.
Absolutely. And would you be able to talk a little bit about how you're able to drive real-time insights? You put in a lot of work, we know a bit too, right? How you're able to obtain real-time insights for business, like origination volume, loan throughput, and things like this, right? What was your plan? And we know that you started on this good path, right? A little bit about that, please.
Yeah. I think a big part of that and a big part of our collaboration component really comes down to developing patterns that we can execute quickly across the business. Some of there's the real-time piece sometimes is maybe just a technology fix, but taking the data when it's available to you and making that available as quickly as possible comes down a lot of times to architectural patterns. And so having strong patterns that are aligned between the data science team and our IS team, so that we can actually inject those insights as close to real time as possible is a big part. And maybe just a really simple example of it would be as let's say new tools come on to help with data engineering, right? That it might allow us to make that happen faster, make that happen within a strong information governance framework. We're really looking to use those tools and make sure we're doing that in the same way as we would productionalize those analytics. So with the data science team, maybe they're doing some research And let's make sure that just simply we're using those tools in a consistent way so that when we want to move that into production, we have the right pattern and we can do that really quickly on our end.
Right, so strong reusable patterns that you're putting away in a library, constantly improving on that and making changes from looking at the industry, right? So that's one way that you're going, right? And then would you agree, and I'm sure you do, and maybe you brought that up once, right? AI and machine learning, that it gives you an undeniable advantage, like most people who are getting into that. Would you be able to address a little bit about how you think it would help in the financial services space, and how you're seeing advances helping you go forward?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity, and this maybe echoes on some of the panelists that we had earlier. There's a lot of opportunity for it across the business, from operations to helping to make better business strategy decisions. But I think a really fundamental, important part of that, it comes down to the data and making sure that we have strong data, it's clean data, it's well-defined, and that it's something that's a really strong foundation for us to be able to build upon. So I think all of those things coming together are crucial for us being able to really leverage those types of tools. And so, I think we have some exciting transformation initiatives underway, some of those in partnership with Tavant, and those are really crucial components to creating that data foundation to leverage some of the AI and ML capabilities.
And you have a mountain of data that you're sitting on from years, so you have the best opportunity to use that. I would assume, right? MGIC has been around for a while, right? So you have a ton of data. You don't have to get data from somewhere else. And I also wanted to take the opportunity to ask you a little bit about your multi-cloud strategy. You're a very strong proponent of taking a look at what is available in multiple clouds and then using them, right? So a little bit about that, please, if possible.
Sure. Yeah, so we have for the team, we have a nice, strong presence on AWS already. We're making strong use of some of the key tools there, from SageMaker to Athena to Glue. But yes, I think we would like to explore a multi-cloud strategy, I think for a variety of reasons, from a resiliency and disaster recovery, obviously, possibly for business applications, there may be some advantages there. And then additionally, though, I think making sure that we have maybe I don't know to say the right tool for the right purpose, but a reasonable tool for the right purpose, right? We want to make sure that we're taking full advantage of some of the tools that are out there, because they allow the data science team really to focus on their expertise and over time make their lives a little bit easier and allow them to move faster for our enterprise.
Right, and you took a head start in the data platform, right, by building that strip of that MLOps pipeline that you were working on. Pretty advanced, and a little bit, if you will, on a little bit of why you built it and how it is helping your business. And I think you're able to move models faster into production. People are able to make changes on their own and don't have to wait for a deployment team to come in, and you built a nice framework, right, for putting stuff into production. A little bit about that. I think it's pretty sturdy and advanced.
Sure. And it's something we continue to work towards and evolve that framework, and a lot of it comes down to just starting by getting the right architecture around that, right? So we have I'll use the word again, but the consistent patterns to be able to do that. So getting the right orchestration tools around it, the right controls, really it's a lot of those things that sort of get in the way of being able to deploy models quickly, right? But making sure that we're developing our models in language that are supported in production, that they can be enterprise, just really lining up all those pieces. There is a lot of complexity there, but I also think that's maybe going back a little bit to the last question. Some of the advantage of the cloud providers is some of the framework is already there, right? And I use this a lot, but there's a lot of things already that any of the cloud providers, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, they've solved them for us already, right? So every time we can take a little piece of that they might have from a managed service really allows us to move faster in that kind of modeling ops pipeline framework. And so we continue to look to integrate those pieces into our architecture. And I think it'll be something that we're always looking at and kind of iterating through over time.
Right. Last question from my side before I would request you to talk a little bit about a business case that you've worked on. All right. So I think both of us will agree that when we are looking, there's so much tremendous talent available, right? And I think we were having this discussion once, right? Astrophysicists, biologists, mathematicians, right? How are you planning to harness this talent, and what's your view on how you intend to use them for analytics?
Sure. Yeah. So I think, MGIC is really committed to just overall diversity, both race, gender, and even thoughts. And that's, I think, a lot of what you're getting to is we're right now, we're definitely looking for talent in non-traditional places. That I think it's very easy we exist in the mortgage space, and there's a lot of mortgage knowledge out there. There's a lot of people with specialties there, but I think it's interesting as we bring the data science team together. Fundamentally, a lot of these problems boil down to math, and there might be different ways of solving that particular math problem. So looking out there in different fields, from, as you mentioned, we've explored talent in astrophysics, even medicine. We've looking at, strongly at computer vision, leveraging people with a wide variety of talents. And I think that thought diversity just really comes together nicely. So that's a really big component of how we're trying to build that team, and those skills really complement each other and allow us to move forward rapidly and robustly for enterprise.
Absolutely. Thanks, Gary. And if you could quickly tell us about a business case that you built at MGIC. I know you built up more than a few, right? And which you think aligns completely with the idea of how analytics helped it get to the next level, right?
Sure. I think, maybe just to start off really simple, I think everyone can here probably would agree, and anyone in the business would agree that, right, they want to be able to leverage as much data as they can, as quickly as they can, to drive strategic decisions. And every day that goes by, the world is generating more data. The data gets more complex, and we have to be able to move with that pace. So, I think the example I would give would, we recently had a fairly large data set, a lot of value to it for the business in terms of, making some just strategic decisions sooner than later. It's a process that just traditionally would have taken days, maybe, or weeks, even longer, just to land it, process it, understand what's in the data, and be able to sort of make it consumable to the business, and for them to make decisions off of it. And I think a lot of what over the last 6 months in Milo Labs, we've been focused on those patterns, standing up the right tools, bringing in some of the talent that can help us leverage those tools. And so we recently have the case that kind of pulling together all the tools that I mentioned on that AWS platform, Glue, Athena, SageMaker, and a few other things on the platform, we were able to really take that and have it happen in more or less, I'd say less than a couple of days, to be able to stand it up, make it rapidly ready, actually have insights injected and into a platform that was digestible by the business, right? They didn't have to wade through the millions and millions of rows of data. It was very like a one-page, concise, with a little bit of very, very light ML to put some insights around it too, and just add some perspective to, are these numbers good or bad? Here are the numbers that you should look at. And I think that was probably a little bit of a proof of concept for us, but the pattern, the pipeline for being able to do that, and making that part of our analytic muscle as we move forward at MGIC is incredibly valuable to the business, whether it's a person consuming it, or even as we want to be able to inject those things into actual business applications as well, and evolve those over time.
Absolutely. So you're able to take a legacy, in quotes, I mean, because I don't know what is out there, right? Legacy system, and you're able to bring it to this new stack. And your users must be really pleasantly surprised at how much time you could save for them, and they could focus on the business. And that's a very good business case, Gary.
Yeah, I guess I would just add, I think our data scientists love it too, right? Some of them have worked with some of the old tools and technology, and they're really, really excited about the opportunity to always have these tools at their fingertips, and have the commitment to adding the right tools as the technology and the stack evolves in the future.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you're able to do scalable compute and storage, right? And that also gets you to a better spot, right? Overall, you want to talk about?
I think that's an excellent point, right? Being kind of cloud advocacy, putting the right compute to the right problem, right? Do we need RAM? Do we need GPUs? Right? Just having the right technology to put against the problem is also, aside from the problem solving and the math, that can be a really critical component to it as well, and making effective use of the resources that are out there.
Great, Gary. Great new ecosystem, a new world that you're building out there. Analytics, very interested and very excited to see that. Fresh thinking and great team band that you're building out there, right? So I'll open it up for questions. I wanted more people to have access to have questions to you. Brad, Debbie, do we have any?
We do have a couple of questions. So thank you so much, Gary, and thanks, Harsha, for this amazing. This was pretty fun and a lot to learn and take away from Gary. So the first question here is from Mohammed Rashid, and he says, how do you apply best practice patterns in factory assembly lines and manufacturing industry to the MGIC ecosystem and decorate them with machine learning patterns for automation and insights gathering? Yeah,
actually, I think that's one. I think there's probably a couple of answers to that. One, I think, we very much recognize that we can't always do this ourselves. And so I think one view on that would be leveraging accelerators, leveraging outside expertise, such as some of the partnership that we have going on with Tavant right now, to be able to make those pipelines work, right? A lot of firms we work with also might have some expertise and experience even outside the fintech space, right? So we get to see what happens in the manufacturing process. I think, additionally too, as we look at talents, one of our summer interns this year is in mechanical engineering. And that was one of the things that stuck out just as we explore that, the different perspective around this. Really, that model ops is a bit of a manufacturing pipeline, and we can leverage some of that view.
Sure,
right.
Thanks.
So Gary, one thing we want to add there, right? Tavant, we worked in multiple verticals, right? So we tend to take ideas like you rightly said, right? That, for example, multi-touch is done in media. We tend to apply that wherever applicable in the financial services for like conversion of leads and things like that. Manufacturing has very good computer vision use cases. So we've already inculcated that in our practice to be able to use that, right? So I think that's the way, that's what you're saying too. It's a practice that we indulge into, and I think that's pretty exciting that you're going there.
Absolutely, yeah. And I have another question, which I'm going to ask you, which is non-related. But let me read out what Sandeep Mathur had asked you. He's saying, so other than risk management and pricing, are there any other areas that you see we can leverage artificial intelligence and machine learning?
Yeah, I think it goes across the entire organization. I think if we think about just an example around computer vision, I think from whether it be on maybe the front end of the business and the claims process, there's a ton of information I would love to know about properties, right, that we might be able to generate via computer vision, right, and develop an enhanced profile of what do we know about this property. That would be one example. And then additionally, and I think there's a lot of opportunity also as we look at operational processes, and earlier in the panel, talking a little bit about what can we have, having the humans focus on the exception piece, and really maybe even allow them to get to places that they haven't explored before, just because we're time constrained in that process, right? And so I don't really view there as being any limits to where we can take it. I think as the technology improves, as we are able to implement it faster, there's a lot of opportunity, and the data, right? Having the right data to be able to drive those decisions, there's really opportunity across the entire organization.